Our next story is about Nestlé. It is the world's largest food company. It makes some of the most well-known products in the world. But tonight it is facing serious questions, and that is because of a new investigation. A report says Nestlé sold baby cereals with added sugar. These products were sold in parts of Africa. They were meant for babies as young as 6 months. The lab tests found added sugar in most tested packets. But here's the thing. The same product in Europe had no added sugar. So two different standards for two different worlds. Nestlé says the report is misleading and scientifically inaccurate. But the investigation has now triggered a global debate. Are food companies following one rule for some regions and another for others? Here's a report.
Early solid foods for babies are supposed to be the safest. They are generally considered free from additives. But a recent investigation has raised an alarm. Some packaged baby cereals in Africa contain added sugar that many parents may not be aware of. The findings were released by Public Eye. It is a Swiss investigative group, and their investigation was centered on the world's largest food company, Nestlé. Public Eye's team worked with civil society partners in reportedly over 20 African countries. Together, they collected nearly 100 samples of Cerelac. Cerelac is Nestlé's flagship cereal for babies aged 6 months and above. All the samples went to a laboratory for testing. The results were consistent. More than 90% of the packets contained added sugar. The average serving held around 6 grams. That is roughly 1½ teaspoons. Some packets even contained 7½ grams. Investigators then compared these results with Cerelac, sold in richer markets. Many European versions had no added sugar. Public Eye pointed to this contrast. They said this amounted to a double standard, and that comparison triggered a bigger debate. Because global health guidance is clear. The World Health Organization recommends no added sugars in foods for children under 3. Experts say early sugar exposure can shape taste preferences. They also link it to tooth decay and higher risks of obesity later in life. Nestlé, however, rejected the allegations. The company said the report was misleading. It said its products follow national regulations in every country, and that its recipes meet international standards. Nestlé also said some of the sugar detected in tests comes from natural ingredients, including grains, milk, and fruit, and it announced a global shift to no added sugar Cerelac by the end of this year. But this is not the first time Nestlé has faced scrutiny over its nutrition practices. In April 2024, Public Eye reported that Nestlé added sugar to its baby foods sold in low-income countries, including India. But they were not included in the European markets. In 2015, Nestlé's favorite Maggi noodles were banned in India. This was after it was found that the product contained more than permissible levels of lead and monosodium glutamate, or MSG. And over the years, rights groups have also reported cases of child labor on cocoa farms allegedly linked to Nestlé. Those reports led to lawsuits and promises to strengthen supply chain checks. Together, these episodes form a long history of scrutiny, and they shape how the new findings are received today. The latest results land at a critical moment for many African countries. Obesity and diabetes are rising. Undernutrition remains widespread. Health experts call this the double burden of malnutrition. And this raises some important questions. What should be the standard for food made for infants? And should that standard ever differ from one region to another?
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scar generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.